Morning everybody, fantastic to see you all again. So, I've got a space here in my log cabin. This is where I film my videos at the other end of it. I look at it, it's got nothing on it at the moment. I want to put something on it. I want to print my photos and get them framed and put them on the wall. And then I had a thought that I could potentially put an acrylic print here. I think it'll look really good. And then Whitewall reached out to me and asked to sponsor a video, and I thought this would be the perfect video to talk about exporting your photos and the mistakes that people make when they're exporting their photos to print. So I'm going to talk about a photo that I'm going to put on here, which is a Volcano photo, because I want to talk about that experience as well, because it was absolutely amazing. And then I'm going to show you 5 mistakes that I see all the time when people are printing the photos, so you can prepare your photos to be printed externally, or if you've got your own printer, print them yourself. It's really simple, but these 5 mistakes come up all the time. Okay, so those 5 mistakes, I'm going to go through 3, then we're going to have a look at some Volcano photos. I'll talk about how I prepare a photo to be printed, and then we'll look at another 2 mistakes. And then we'll have to wait a little bit until I get it back from the printer's Whitewall. Okay, so the first mistake that I see all the time is just the incorrect editing environment. So, you want to make sure when you're editing your photos that your monitor brightness is set at the same level pretty much. So I like it to be on between sort of 5 and 6 bars on my Mac. You don't want it super bright, you don't want it too dark. And to do that, what I find the best way to do it is make sure that you've got the same environment around you. So if you've got a curtain, maybe close it, just put a light on. If it's a cloudy day and you know that it's not too bright, then that works pretty well, I find, as well. But you've got to have that consistent editing environment, because otherwise your monitor's going to go really bright, you're going to edit something, you're going to print it, and it's just going to look dark when you get it back. So that is definitely one of the biggest mistakes that I see. So more important than anything is just print your photos. I'm here at my exhibition, Spirit of Luskentire, and I'm just in the middle of setting it up actually. It looks fantastic. I'm so proud of all these photos on the wall. They just look so good. But just printing one photo, getting it framed and putting it on your wall, I guarantee you'll start to appreciate your photography more. Having that tactile thing in front of you is so special. And I'm just going to show you over here, I've got a Whitewall acrylic print that's come through, and it looks so good. It's just, I don't know, there's something about the acrylic that sort of makes it jump out. This is one of the images, this is the biggest image actually that I've got in my exhibition, and it really does look special. Anyway, if you're in the area, in Cheshire, there's a link in the description to this exhibition. It's on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'll be here. I'm dead proud. I think it looks really good. Okay, back to me in the studio. Right, on to the second thing, and that's all about paper profiles. Sounds complicated, but for each different paper that you have, then you need a paper profile that's printed to your printer. Now you can download generic ones for those paper profiles, and they're good, but even better than that is to get the paper that you like with your printer. You print a test sheet off. Photospeed do this, lots of companies do it. You send it off to the company, and then they send you a paper profile back that you then install into Photoshop or Lightroom. I prefer Lightroom for printing. And that is really good. If you don't print with the right paper profile, then you're going to get funny colours, you're not going to get your blacks and your whites right. It's just not going to look right, really. So really important, a mistake I see all the time, make sure you're using the right paper profile. And I'll explain that a little bit more when we look at some photos. Okay, the next one, which sort of annoys me a little bit, because I use a Mac, and whenever Macs update their operating system, then you need to download a new driver for that operating system for the printer that you're using. And it's really important that you have that right driver. When Apple updates their operating system, then when I print with that new operating system, even if it's just like a small upgrade, like a mini upgrade, then the print's colours just go a little bit off. So you've got to make sure you've got the latest driver all the time, and it's really important. You might not notice it, and then you'll start to get funny looking coloured prints. So make sure you do that. It's really easy. I've got a Canon Pro to 1000, so I can search on the Canon site and then go to drivers, choose the operating system, and at the moment they've not released it for the latest one, Ventura, so I've just stuck with Monterey, my operating system. I've not upgraded my operating system on my printing computer here. And just make sure you've got that latest version, and if they do a mini version update, then reinstall that driver, because sometimes it messes it up. I see that mistake all the time. It's a real problem. Hopefully you don't have the same problem and you can sort it out doing this. Right, let's have a look actually at some of these volcano photos. Let me tell you a little bit about this trip, because I went here, I posted it on Instagram, but I didn't say anything on YouTube. It was incredible. I went with my friend Mass, and Mass's girlfriend. We had a really long walk there. It was just quite a tough walk there, but we were so lucky to have this day to be able to go to this volcano. It was fantastic to be able to go with Mass as well. We had such an incredible day. The volcano was amazing. I saw it like at daylight, as you can see here. There's a helicopter flying over, and it's one of those experiences that is so difficult to get in a photo. You've got to be there really. But I wanted to get a better photo this time, because the first time I went, I sort of was overawed with the experience and I probably didn't do it justice, and also it was quite difficult to photograph it with my Nikon. I had to photograph it with my drone, and even though I love my drone shot, I wanted a Nikon big camera shot. So I took some drone shots like this, and I really like those. I think they worked out pretty well. But the best shots were with my long lens, my 100-400 lens. I got some really nice shots of the volcano just sort of erupting and spewing out the lava. It looked fantastic. I got some amazing, like, of these tornadoes that are being whipped up by the really weird air currents that were going around from the heat. So I really liked that. But then I started experimenting with long exposures. And as it got darker, that was really good. I was disappointed with my drone shots, because then I had a problem with focus on my drone, so I had to sort of write those off really, even though I got some really nice drone shots. They're just not pin sharp. I don't know what that was. Funny actually, Giron and Mass both had the same issues. But yeah, I got some good drone shots, but my favourite shot was this shot here that I took with my Nikon. This was with my 100-400 lens. Is 185 millimeters, an exposure of 2 seconds. I just waited for a big spew of lava to come over. And so I've edited this briefly. This was the basic picture, and then this is my edit. I brought out the shadows a little bit. So when I'm going to print this now, what I want to do is I want to print this on Whitewall's acrylic print. So let's just have a look at Whitewall. So I want to do it using Whitewall's acrylic Ultra HD photo under acrylic glass, because I feel like this is amazing. I got Enchanted Oaks a few months ago printed with this, and I really liked it, and I really wanted to do something really vibrant with it. I thought it looked really good, so the volcano shot is the perfect thing to do on this. So here you can see download ICC color profile for soft profiling. It's a good thing that Whitewall do. They allow you to download this color profile that I was talking about, because obviously you're printing with their machine on their paper. So you want that color profile here to be able to soft proof your photos. So you can download that, you can just click on that, and they've got various ones, and I'm going to click on the Ultra HD one here. So I've done that. And I've installed it into Lightroom. If you don't know how to install it into Lightroom, then I'll link a video here that shows you how to do it. But it's fairly simple. And then what you've done, when you've got that, you can go into the Develop module, and I can click Soft Proof. And then it says here that I've got the Whitewall Ultra HD Fuji paper that I'm going to print on, which is going to go behind the acrylic. And what I can do is then I can see how that's going to look. It's basically, it simulates what the ink and paper are going to do, and tries to give you a view of what it's going to look like, because obviously when you print it, it's going to look slightly different than when you see it on your screen. So I can see here when I zoom in that the blacks are just a little bit too crushed. So what I need to do now is I just need to increase the shadows a little bit on this, and this creates a soft proof version, which I've already got. But I want to make sure I pull out some of this detail here. So I've increased the shadows on this, and then up here I might just make the whites just even whiter, just to bring out just a little bit of this. I want it to really have some punch, and this is starting to look good. I think this is good. Do I need to add any more saturation? No, maybe a little bit. But you can play about with that until you think it's right. And then what I do is I export that. So I want to export that and upload it to the white wall site. Now what I do when I export it is I click export, and then I choose a folder for that. So I'm just going to put it in my edited photos here, and I'm going to export it as an Adobe RGB. So that's a big color space. It's going to have all the color information, and it's probably best to look on the site you're using. Obviously with white wall, they give you the details of what are best settings. And I'm going to do it as high quality as I can, so I'm not going to limit the size, or I'm not going to compress it at all. And then I'm not going to sharpen it because I've done all the sharpening in Lightroom. So once I've done that, and I always save mine as a JPEG, I find that a JPEG at 100% is adequate quality to do this with. I've experimented with a TIFF and a JPEG, printing them. I don't see any difference. So I do it as a JPEG and then just export it. And once I've done that, we can go and I can upload that and print it with white wall. And then whilst that's being printed, well, I say whilst that's being printed, it's going to take a week, I think. I'll talk to you about the other two mistakes. So if you're printing your own work, then you might try different paper, and I would recommend doing that. So I like Photospeed NST Bright White, but I also like other papers. This is a cotton etching paper. It's got a little bit more texture. I like this from the black and whites. And then sometimes if I've got something that's got a bit of punch, or I want to try something a little bit different, so maybe it's got something with some blacks, then I might try a luster paper like this one here, which I thought might look quite good for this image. But the most important thing is just to do some test prints, because you can print really small, you can put the same bit of paper through and do lots of different squares on it. But I feel like doing test prints improves your ability to print. You can do that with an external printer like white wall, because you can get some small test prints of that particular paper. And I think then you find what you like and what you don't like. What you don't want to do is print something really big and then find out you don't like it. So don't make that mistake. Do some test prints. It's really, really important. Okay, the final thing is the viewing environment. So when you get your prints back, where you view your prints is as important as the setup you have when you edit your prints. Because what you've got on a computer screen, it's backlit, so it's being lit all the time. You can control the brightness, you control your editing environment. But you don't want to view your print, you know, here I've got a light here and it looks really good. It's like really nicely lit. I'll show you one that's not quite as reflective. So here you can see that, you know, depending on how far back I go, it's going to go darker, and if I go behind here, it'll look differently. But if you're just in the dark room and you look at this print, and you might get it back from the printers, it'll just look horrible, and you'll think, oh, it's too dark. But you need to look at your prints in the perfect environment, and that's either under a light or by a window is probably my best suggestion. So find a window when it's north facing, there's no direct light coming in, it's cloudy maybe, look at it under the window light, and that'll give you a good indication of whether it's printed correctly. So that's it. Just need to wait now for my acrylic print to come back from white wall. If you're looking to get your own print with white wall, I use them for doing big prints all the time. They're a fantastic print company. They do amazing quality work. The packaging is incredible as well. You can get all sorts of prints, and if you want 10% off, there's a link in the description below, so make sure you check it out. Oh, and if you like the video, please like it. It massively helps. Last Sunday's video did really, really well because everyone liked it. Hopefully you like the video as well. Don't just give it a thumbs up if you don't like the video, but just clicking that button makes a big difference to me. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. And I just need to wait now, so I'll come back. In your time, it'll be 1 second. In my time, it'll be a week. Okay, it's arrived. I'm so excited to see this. I've been patient. I've taken it out of the box, got it here, and I'm now gonna unwrap it. And it is quite big. So you're going to see it before I am, probably. Drum roll. Oh, that's looking good, I think. Right, we need to get it up on the wall. Oh wow, that looks amazing. Okay, I think that's straight. Finally covered the plug hole up. And it looks so fantastic. I am so pleased with this. And as I've said, just printing your work is so, so amazing. Whether you get somebody like White Wall, who did this incredible acrylic, or you print it at home, I definitely recommend it. The problem is, I now need 2 more images, one for here and one for here. So I either can select something or I can go out and try and find something, but it's so exciting to print your work. And yeah, thanks ever so much for watching. Until next Sunday, bye.